Hey everybody, it's Kennedy Hawk from the MCM team. Welcome back to Decktalls, the annual MCM holiday tradition where we spend all November crafting some fun decks with our favorite heroes, and then release them throughout December as a gift to the community. Happy holidays! Whatever holiday you, your friends, and family celebrate, I hope it includes playing some of my favorite LCG, Marvel Champions, with your friends and family. On to Decktalls. So what is Decktalls? If you're new to the game, or if you haven't tuned into MCM before, this is an annual tradition we've been doing at MCM all the way since the first year the game came out. What we used to do is I would spend all November crafting a bunch of decks for a bunch of different heroes. I used to try to hit every single hero, but that's now gotten a little untractable. And then I would release them day after day in December, doing a really quick overview of the deck and sometimes releasing some gameplay footage as well. Some of the favorite decks I've made have been in this deck building experience, because basically at the beginning of November, I sort everything, make sure I know where all my cards and they're all accounted for, and then I go through and breathe new life into the game by building decks for myself. It's super exciting. This year with the release of Wolverine and Storm, I got 2 new packs right before I got to start my deck building, so it's going to include cards all the way up to Wolverine, and it's super fun. So this year's a little bit different. Instead of tackling each hero, I'm going to release 12 decks over the next 12 days, the 12 days of Christmas or the holidays, whatever you celebrate. Each day I'm going to release one deck, talk about the deck, have a little gameplay video or some tips and tricks to piloting it, and I'll even give you a list of heroes that work well with that aspect basic combination. You can use your collection to make these decks and have a blast with your family and friends over the holidays. As you play Marvel Champions, you won't even have to sweat about what decks am I going to build, because you're going to have 4 for each aspect built for you right away. We are going to build this out of one collection, so if I use a card in one deck, if I use a card in today's deck, I won't be able to use it in another deck unless we have multiple copies of that card due to reprints. So that way, if you own one of everything from Marvel Champions, you'll be able to build these 12 decks concurrently, which is super cool. Alright, other content creators are also celebrating the holidays this season, and I am super excited. So check out the Critical Encounters YouTube page from December 1st through December 21st, starting today, for some fun holiday and Marvel Champions content. In the holiday spirit, I'm going to continue raising funds for the UNM Children's Hospital via Extra Life. If you enjoy this holiday content, please consider donating $1 to the Children's Hospital through the Extra Life link in the show notes or at the bottom of the YouTube page. With that, we're going to move on to the first deck, my favorite deck. Today's deck is 25-cent weapons. So what I wanted to do was build a deck all about the Hawkeye Mean Swing Skilled Strike package that I love to play. I've played the I Have an Arrow for this deck so many times, I can't even keep track of it anymore. But we've gotten a ton of new aggression cards that I think can give the deck a bit of a different spin. So I want to combine Mean Swing, weapons packages, things like Yarnbjorn, things like Hand Cannon, with some newer cards like No Quarter and Fluid Motion from Nova's pack. No Quarter is a card that has a requirement of a fist, it's a 2-cost event, it's a hero action attack, deal 4 damage to an enemy. For each printed excess damage dealt to that enemy by this attack, discard the top card of your deck and add each aggression card discarded this way to your hand. This can be super exciting combined with Mean Swing and Skilled Strike, because all those cards cost 0. So even if you draw just a Mean Swing and a Skilled Strike and everything else goes into your trash, you just drew 5 damage for playing an attack event. So you are going to need to be able to do excess damage, so we're going to use allies and things like that to chip away at minions and set up these big No Quarters. But using combinations of Follow Through and combinations of Warrior Skill from Wolverine's pack, I was able to get a No Quarter to hit for 6 and draw 6 cards. No Quarter to hit for 7, 6 excess, and draw 6 cards off of it, which was just about bonkers. So some other features of this deck: it has no basic resources. In fact, it only has one basic card, which is Side Holster. That's mainly so that you can get a third weapon out, because if you're going to use Hawkeye's bow or somebody else's signature weapon with this, you might want to use that weapon for its ability. So you're going to have a copy of Yarnbjorn and 2 copies of Hand Cannon to fill out those slots with Side Holster. It's a whopping 48 card deck. There's 32 aggression cards in this deck, and the goal is that when you play No Quarter, you almost always hit aggression events. Hawkeye has the distinct advantage here, because if you can get your quiver down, you can stash a bunch of arrows into that and set your combo up correctly. It's also got some really weird, interesting cards like Assault Training, which was a card from Vision's pack. It's a support, max 2 per deck with 2 uses. Exhaust this card and remove one training counter from it. Choose an aggression event in your discard pile and shuffle it into your deck. So you're going to use this to recycle your no quarters more frequently, or to stack your no quarter. If you have no quarter in your hand, you flip down, shuffle in a mean swing, shuffle in a skilled strike on the next turn, and all of a sudden you've set up this huge no quarter combo. So let's go through the deck, card type by card type, and then I'll talk about the different heroes that work well with this deck, and we'll wrap up with a gameplay video that I'll narrate. Alright, so Decktalls 2023, Day 1, 25-cent weapons, all about no quarter and mean swing. We've got 7 allies in this deck. We have a copy of Angela, who's going to summon minions for us, right? We need minions to get that excess damage off with no quarter. We're going to use Brawn, mainly for thwarting. We're going to use Hulk, mainly for blocking. We've got, obviously, Hawkeye's Mockingbird. We have Spider-Girl, Sunfire, and Throg. So those are 3 2-cost allies that really don't want to, linger on the board. I don't want to use things that should be going in ally aggression decks, since I'm building out of 1 card pool. So Spider-Girl is going to let you maintain minions for when you have that no quarter. You can stun and confuse them, keep them on the board. Sunfire can discard attachments that would otherwise end your team's game. And Throg, again, if you're maintaining a minion waiting for that no quarter, he's going to get you 2 blocks because he's going to gain that tough card. So really apt selections. You're mainly going to be using your allies for thwarting and for chipping away at minions and getting them to really low health so you can maximize that no quarter play. Next, let's jump to support. So we've got 2 copies of Assault Training. So we already talked about that one. The whole goal of this is if you have played Spider-Girl to confuse a minion, you can flip down, shuffle in 2 aggression events, 1 the turn you flip down, 1 the next turn, to really set up a big no quarter attack. Upgrades, we've got 1 copy of Combat Training, 2 copies of Expert Marksman from Hawkeye's kit, obviously our bow and quiver, and 1 copy of Side Holster to increase our restricted keyword limit. For aggression cards, we've got 2 copies of Fluid Motion. After you play an attack event, exhaust this card. Your hero gets +1 attack until the end of the phase. This is a really strong card with Hawkeye. You've already got a base 3 attack. If you get a combat training out, you're up to a base 4 attack. So if you have a Fluid Motion down, 6 of your arrows are attack events. All 3 of your no quarters are attack events. So you've got 9 attack events in your deck that can give you +1 attack. So that's going to set up really big bursty turns and just sort of helps smooth out your deck. We've got 2 copies of Follow Through from Galaxy's Most Wanted. When your hero attacks and deals any amount of excess damage, increase that amount by 1. So that's, again, going to help our no quarters draw us more cards. We've got 2 copies of Hand Cannon. It's a 3 uses restricted weapon. You remove a charge counter from it to give your hero +2 for that attack, and it gains Overkill. So really good card from Galaxy's Most Wanted. We have Yarnbjorn, obviously, weapon decks want weapons. And we have 2 copies of Warrior Skill. Now I was torn on this. Warrior Skill and Follow Through fill a very similar role. So Warrior Skill is a new card from Wolverine's pack. It's a 2-cost upgrade. Uses 3 warrior counters. Interrupt. When your hero attacks, remove 1 counter from here. That attack deals 1 extra damage. So that only works on attacks. It's not going to work on Explosive Arrow, which is unfortunate. But what we can do is we can use that with no quarter to deal additional damage if we want. So you can turn this into 3 card draws when you're using no quarter, or you can save it and use it on Hawkeye's base attack when you're doing your big swing after you've drawn all your mean swings and skilled strikes. So it's kind of a versatile version of Follow Through. Follow Through only increases the excess damage, which only really helps you if you have Overkill, which is fine because we have our hand cannons, but you're not always going to have hand cannons, right? Whereas Warrior Skill is more of you're deciding whether you want to turn it into card draw or turn it into a damage. It's a really fun decision point when you're playing the deck. So 15 upgrades. A lot of cards to fit in your deck. We've got 2 resources. They're both Power of Aggression because we have a lot of 2-cost cards in this deck. For events, we have our 10 arrows, so 2 cable arrows, 2 electric arrows, 2 explosive arrows, 2 sonic arrows, and 2 vibranium arrows. And then we've got 12 aggression events. So we've got 3 copies of Mean Swing, which is when you make a basic attack, exhaust a weapon to give your hero +3 for that attack. We've got 2 copies of Skilled Strike, so those are both 0-cost cards that turn into 2 to 3 damage, which is good. We've got 3 copies of No Quarter, which is a real combo card. So again, when you use Assault Training, unless you have a No Quarter in hand, you always want to prioritize shuffling No Quarter back into your deck. If you have No Quarter in hand, then you can shuffle other things in, or if you know where they are. Knowing where those are is really important. And then we've got 3 copies of Looking for Trouble. It's discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until you discard a minion, put that minion into play, engage with you, remove 3 threat from the main scheme. So again, helping us with threat and getting that minion out there so our allies can soften it up and we can no quarter it into oblivion. So that's the deck. It's 48 cards. It's kind of excessive. The whole point in that, again, is to make sure when you hit with a no quarter, you're drawing as many cards as possible. It's a super fun deck to play, and I'm excited for you all to try it out. So if you do try it out, make sure you comment on the YouTube video or on the podcast feed so I can know. Other heroes that this works with. So I built this with Hawkeye because reasons. There's a ton of heroes this works with. So Black Panther has 2 weapons in his 4 Black Panther upgrades, so you can search out a weapon right away, set things up, get rocking and rolling that way. Thor, obviously, you're looking for minions, you're wanting to do excess damage, you're wanting to swing your hammer. This is like Thor's jam. He loves it. Rocket, this is going to work really well with, because he's got a lot of weapons built into his kit. He can get other uses out of those weapons until he flips down to discard them. Venom, obviously, you're going to start with a weapon, and he sort of likes weapons. Drax, I think this works really well with Drax's knives, because you don't really get to use the knives for anything other than their base ability, so now you get to use them for mean swings. Valkyrie, this could work okay with if you can get her spear into play. And Wolverine, claws are weapons. Connect. Now you won't get to use his ability on no quarter, I believe, because you won't meet the requirements then, but you can use his ability on his events, and then you can use the claws otherwise for your mean swinging. So that is the first day of Decktalls. I'm going to get TTS fired up here, and we're going to take this Hawkeye deck up against Crossbones. Alright, we are all set up here for our first Decktalls matchup. We are taking Hawkeye 25-cent weapon aggression up against Crossbones. So we've got everything shuffled in, our Nemesis set is over there on the side, and we are ready to go. So we used Hydra Patrol, Hydra Assault, and Weapon Master as our 3 things. And it looks like the experimental weapons all fell out. Or did I not load them? Let me just double check. They don't appear to be there. I thought they loaded automatically. We'll load them again. Real quick. Alright, so we are getting experimental weapons placed out there. Because part of the setup for Crossbones requires you to give him a weapon. So, he's got piercing while he has weapon attachment on him. We are going to create the weapons deck and set it next to the main scheme. And when we reveal 1B, we are going to get a weapon right away. So we've got a laser rifle, ranged and piercing. Oh no. Here we go, as Hawkeye. Drawing our 6 opening cards, we've got an Assault Training, a Sunfire, which isn't overly non-enticing with the laser rifle there. So I think I might keep that. I'm going to get rid of Skilled Strike and Assault Training and draw... Actually, I'll keep one of those and just draw 1. We got a Warrior Skill. Alright, so we are going to throw away Warrior Skill to go find our bow. Okay. Success. We have our bow. We'll put it into play. Let's zoom in on our play map, because that's what we're focusing on right now. I think we're also going to throw down an Expert Marksman, because that doesn't hurt. We're going to pay with Assault Training for that. And then we'll use Power of Aggression to play Sunfire, and we will use Spider-Girl to pay for his triggering ability, which will get rid of this experimental weapon. Which seems really good for us right now. We haven't flipped up yet. Do we care about flipping up right now? I think we kind of would rather have the extra card, so we're just going to punch for 2 with Sunfire and stay in Alter Ego, and we'll draw 6 cards. Alright, so we've got 1 threat going on in the main. Crossbones is definitely going to scheme out 1 plus, 0. Nice. Did not threat out. We get 1 encounter card, and it's a Hydra Soldier with guard. Not a big deal for us, because we've got a no quartered in hand. It's almost like we planned it. Alright. Let's get this underway and figure out what we want to do. We're going to flip up. Now this guy is at 4, so I'm going to go ahead and hit him for 3 with Hawkeye. So that's going to put him down to 1. We can now use no quarter. Is there anything we can do to increase that no quarter damage before we do that? Not that I see. So we're going to play no quarter, which is a 2-cost event. We have to use a physical resource. So we're going to use Looking for Trouble and Skilled Strike to play no quarter. It's got to punch that Hydra villain for 4. 3 of that is excess damage, so we're going to discard 3 cards from our deck and draw them all. We get Throg, we get Warrior Skill, and we get Mean Swing. So that was a pretty productive day so far. We still got 6 cards in our hand, which is a little bit crazy. We haven't used our bow yet, so we could play this Vibranium Arrow, but I think we're going to get a side holster down. We are going to... Do I want to play Angela and get a tough on Throg? Or do I want to play Warrior Skill and start setting up my no quarters? I think we're going to go with an Angela first. Search the top 10 cards of the encounter deck for a minion. And we're 5 in. There we get a Hydra Flame Soldier. Well, technically this first one was dealt to us as an encounter card. My bad. So in the first 10, we've got a Jet Trooper who has Quick Strike. And we've got a regular who's just going to Insight 1. We've got a Flame Soldier. We're going to bring a Flame Soldier out. Shuffle the rest of these back into the deck. Great job, Angela. I think we're going to pay 2 for a Throg, who's going to get a tough card. And we'll have Sunfire Thwart, just to not pop the scheme. Feels a little bad. We'll have Angela attack the Flame Trooper for 2. So we're setting it up to die in the future. And Throg's going to block the villain attack for us, I think. Alright, that was our turn. We've got 2 allies on the board. Expert Marksman, Bow, Sidearm. And we're drawing 5 cards this time. Meant to throw away Warrior Skill, but I didn't. Okay. Finally, we got some of our Hawkeye cards. Let's get those out of our deck. 1 threat going on the main. Crossbones is going to attack us for 1 plus something, and Throg is going to block it. It's 1 plus 2, just gets eaten by a tough card. The Flame Soldier is going to attack us for 2, and Angela is going to block 1 of it, so we don't take any damage. And now we've got 2 encounter cards to deal with. Crossbones has his armor. I don't think I've ever seen that card before, my goodness. And we've got a full auto. Discard X cards at the top of the deck, where X is Crossbones attack. Take 1 indirect damage for each boost card. So that is 2 right now. So we're taking 1, 2 indirect damage. We're just going to assign both of that to Hawkeye. Call it a day. Alright. It's our go. We are going to use a Hulk to play a second copy of Expert Marksman. So we've got 2 of those now. And we will then Expert Marksman Sonic Arrow for 3 and a Confuse onto... Well, I guess the 3 will go onto his armor, with the Confuse will go onto Crossbones, which is worth it. Wish I had 1 more resource to get our combat training out, but we'll get that when we flip. We're going to attack the Flame Trooper and get rid of him. And then we're going to flip down and throw away our Electric Arrow, drawing 5. Just looking for a second no quarter. Didn't quite get it, but that's okay. So I guess we don't have any minions out right now anyway. Alright, readying everything up. We're going to get 1 threat. That is going to pop the main scheme. So we are going to reveal another weapon for Crossbones. He gets Power Gauntlets. Is that the one that stuns us? Discards a card. Okay. He's confused. We get 1 encounter card, which is a Hydra Bomber. Take 2 damage, replace 1 threat in the main scheme. It's starting at 1. We'll take the 2 damage, because we plan on defending with allies for the rest of the game. And it is our go. Actually, we'll place the threat. We'll place the threat. Decisions are hard. You know how it goes. Okay. We are going to flip up. We're going to use an Expert Marksman to Explosive Arrow, so that will kill the Hydra Bomber and deal enough damage to Crossbone's armor that it gets discarded. We do still have those power gauntlets out there, though, and that takes a mental and a physical. I think we're going to use Looking for Trouble and Mockingbird to play combat training. No, to play follow through. I'm going to bemoan the fact that I don't have an extra resource again. We'll do a base thwart with Hawkeye, base thwart with Throg, and we'll keep Angela around for dealing damage. Or for taking attacks. Alright, I'm going to toss Cable Arrow, keep combat training, and draw 4. So there's still 10 health on the villain. We haven't made much progress there, but we finally got our Quiver, so we can start thinning our deck. Quiver's not going to be as great in this deck because we have so many aggression cards, but once we get to a second no quarter, we're going to be super happy. Alright, 1 threat going on the main. We're getting attacked for 1 plus something. Angela is going to defend it. She takes 4. We don't have to discard any cards because we were not damaged. We get an encounter card. It's Hydra Patrol. Where'd our Cable Arrow go, you know? That's our luck. Okay. Alright, well let's just get this out of the way. Let's toss a Skilled Strike and get our Quiver down and see if we can Quiver into anything. Fluid Motion, no quarter. Hand Cannon, Looking for Trouble. Power of Aggression. I thought that might happen. We've thrown a lot of arrows away already. Shuffling them back in. Now I can choose between combat training or follow through or Yarn Bjorn. I think I'm going to play the second follow through just because we're trying to show off how fun this deck can be. Hawkeye's going to swing for full 3, and Throg will stick around to block an attack, and we're going to draw 5. No quarter again, but we did get a Mean Swing, a Fluid Motion, and an Explosive Arrow. Okay. 1 threat going on the main. We're getting attacked. Throg is going to defend. He takes it. Time to get rid of those powered gauntlets. We've got 1 encounter card, and it's a Quick Strike Jet Trooper. And it's our go. So I think first things first, we will Explosive Arrow to get rid of the Jet Trooper and hit 3 onto Crossbones. We don't have the right resources to get rid of that, which is a bit unfortunate. I'm going to thwart for 1 on the side scheme with Hawkeye. And I'm going to use a Mean Swing to play a Fluid Motion. We're going to search for arrows. A Confusion Arrow, thank goodness. Or a Cable Arrow. What do we care about more? Oops, too many. We're going to take the Sonic Arrow, and we'll play it. Oh no, we already Explosive Arrowed. So our bow is exhausted. That's a bummer. I guess we cleared it out of the way for our no quarter. Do I want to flip down? I think I need to flip down. We're going to let him pop 1 more time, probably. I did draw the right resources to get rid of Powered Gauntlets, so I guess nope, because this is technically under my quiver. I didn't draw nothing. Okay. We have flipped down. We're going to discard Vibranium Arrow and keep the Mean Swing. Draw 5. No quarter still. So there's 2 in the bottom 6 cards of our deck. That's lovely. 1 threat going on the main. He's going to scheme for 1+2, which is just enough to pop it. So he's going to get 1 more weapon, and we cannot let the scheme pop again. So his last weapon is Energy Shield. Retaliate. We don't care about no retaliate. Alright. It's our go. Things are not looking beautiful. We do have a Fluid Motion down. We have no attack events in our hand, though. After you pull, yeah, so we can use the ones from our quiver. That would still count. I'm deciding if I need to recover, which would be embarrassing, but I might need to do it. We could also just like knock this guy to the next phase. I think we're going to recover for 3. Going to play 1 more turn in the setup land. We're going to use a fluid motion to play an assault training. We'll use assault training to shuffle a aggression event back in, and it's going to be... There's 2 no quarters and 6 cards, so I think I can put in... Oh my goodness. What needs to go in there? Probably are looking for trouble, so we can handle threat next turn, right? We're going to flip up. Going to use Power of Aggression to play a hand cannon. I guess we'll Cable Arrow off the main scheme, just to keep it empty. Nah, we'll Sonic Arrow instead. That'll hit for 3, avoid Retaliate, and confuse him in case we draw an advance, which would end our game. Let's discard Cable Arrow and Mean Swing and just draw 5. We did draw into our no quarter. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of cards in our deck to discard with no quarter. The one downfall. Alright, we've got 1 threat going out on the main. He's going to attack us for 1 plus something. And we're not going to defend. We take 1, and we have to discard 1 card from our hand. 1 copy of Looking for Trouble is not needed. We get an encounter card. It's another weapon. Oh my goodness, Sunfire, where are you? Can we do anything right? I'm not sure. We do have some shenanigans to do, though. It's okay. Let's see here. I really need to thwart, but I can't. Let's not quiver yet. So we can no quarter into him. Using Electric Arrow and Hand Cannon. So we meet our requirement. We're going to deal 6 to him because of our follow-throughs. Unfortunately, there's only 2 cards left in our deck for us to discard for no quarter. We do get to draw both of them. It's Brawn and no quarter, which is great. And then we get to shuffle our deck, and now we'll quiver, hoping to find a Cable Arrow or anything good. We do get a Cable Arrow. That keeps us in the game. The rest of these cards get shuffled back in. And we just played our no quarter. Okay, so we've got Looking for Trouble and Brawn. Well, we're definitely going to Cable Arrow 2 off of there. That's the first thing we do. We did flip him to the next phase. What does he do? He gets his machine gun. Oh, this is bad. All the bad things at once, you know? It's going to have 2 ammo counters on it. It looks like we're going to be flipping down. So I guess we just leave Hydra Patrol out there and flip down, right? We haven't done our base attack yet. He's got 14. So we could use our hand cannon as a part of our basic attack to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to flip down and discard Looking for Trouble and Brawn because we just need better cards right now. Alright. We've got 1 threat going on the main. He is confused, and hopefully this isn't an advance. It's a Crossbones Assault. So we're not going to get to no quarter anymore unless we can find a way to get a minion out there. I don't see one in my hand, unfortunately. But we can end it with a pretty big bang. We are going to flip up. We can... He's got 9 left. We have a base attack of 5. With Mean Swing, we could pump that a little bit higher. But let's do some quiver in first. So let's quiver. Oh yeah, Vibranium Arrow, Shock Arrow, Electric Arrow. We'll take the Vibranium Arrow. Putting the others back into our deck and shuffling. So we can use our Expert Marksman with our bow to Vibranium Arrow. It's going to deal 6. We can then use Fluid Motion to increase our attack to 4. 5-6 with Hand Cannon. Crossbones is done. So we got the no quarter gimmick off once. The second time our deck was almost empty, and you don't get to discard and then reshuffle and continue discarding. I think you discard until it ends. If you did get to do more, we may have drawn even more cards. But that's the deck. So it's all about getting your excess damage really high, bringing a minion out, getting it done with no quarter, drawing into a bunch of cards that let you do more things. So thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tune in tomorrow, December 2nd, for another exciting Decktalls adventure. Happy holidays!